Hello again, you sick, twisted weather freaks, and welcome to another fun-filled, action-packed, and intellectually stimulating edition of This Week in Weather. I'm your host and meteorologist, DT from Weather Risk, your captain of chaos, your colonel of confusion, your commander of catastrophe. Let's talk about This Week in Weather on this August 10th, this Friday night, Saturday night, early Sunday morning. And specifically, we're going to be talking about 97L and ERNESTO. So let's talk about that and see what's going on. First, here at the bottom, you can see the web page from weatherrisk.com. There's the grain weather page, Weather Risk Grains. And this here is the Facebook page, just to let you know. Okay, so if you want to come by, give us a follow. All kinds of different sorts of forecast products for your convenience, for your needs. Hurricane reports, snowstorm reports, 30-day forecasts, local forecasts, what have you. All right, we want to take a look at the conditions here. We'll start out with La Nina conditions, because there is some important information here. Now, this is as of August. Here are the Australians, and this is CPC. Notice it ENSO reached 1.2. That's right here off the coast of South America. You see how it dropped here a little bit on the CPC, and then also a slight change here, minus 0.8, but it's actually up for the week. It jumped up here a little bit. So we're not seeing a lot of movement here with these values. That's the whole point. You can see there's not a lot of change going on here. These are very minor changes. And as a result, if you take a look at the actual sea surface temperature anomalies around the globe, we have 4 different areas of what I think are significant areas. Area A, this is the large pool in the northern Pacific, off from the coast of China and Japan and Korea onto the northern Pacific. If you look at this, you see that yellow color right there? I guess it's the pink, peach color, what that is. That's around 5 or 6 degrees centigrade above normal. That's 10 degrees Fahrenheit. That's anywhere from 7 to 10 degrees, a huge pool of really warm water. And this is driving the entire Pacific pattern of this pool. So this is really quite significant. Now, we also have developed this pool of relatively warm sea surface temperature anomalies along the west coast of North America, from the Gulf of Alaska down to Baja in the eastern Pacific. Now, this constitutes a positive PDO if it were to stay in place for a prolonged enough time. But what this does is this has a tendency of placing a ridge, a positive P&A pattern, in the western half of North America. And if you get a ridge in the Rockies, that means you end up getting a trough on the east coast, and you end up seeing a lot less heat here in August. So that's got all possibilities. Area B, this is the ENSO, right here off the coast of South America along the equator, out to the international date line. And you can see there's pockets of warm, slightly cooler than normal, slightly warmer than normal. Overall, it's neutral. And then this is the incredibly warm Atlantic Ocean. Here's subsurface. Now, again, what this is, this subsurface readings, this is looking right here. Okay, we're looking at this area at the surface, but we're going down underneath the surface. So this is the surface right here of the equator right here. This is off South America. This is the date line. This is over by Indonesia. So that's what we're looking at. And you can see there's a large pool of cold water which remains intact at about 100 meters down. Now, this has been here for 6 weeks. -4, -5 degrees centigrade, quite cold. But it's not moving north. And that's one of the reasons why La Nina has not showed up. Notice also above the thermocline right here, at about the 50 meters, there's a pocket of minorly warmer than normal sea surface temperatures, around 1 degree centigrade. We need to get this big pocket of cold water to move up towards the surface, and so far it's not doing that. It hasn't been doing it any time in the last 6 weeks. And that's one of the reasons why we're neutral. We're not in La Nina. Despite all the forecast models back in February, March, and April showing La Nina by July, August, we're not seeing that. Now, this is the new the August 5 European climate model projections. The red thick line, that is the August mean, see right here, and the black line is the July. As you can see, we're still in neutral. The European ensemble mean is still a hazard in neutral all the way through February of 2025. Now, this has implications not only for the hurricane season, but also for the winter, if this is correct, because this would mean neutral ENSO conditions, not La Nina, not El Nino, neutral. And since 1995, we've only had 6 or 7 seasons where we've had neutral conditions. And I think 5 or 6 of those winters were either colder than normal and or snowier than normal. So if we could have La Nina into the winter season, or no La Nina, I should say neutral conditions. If we have neutral conditions, that would be great. Now, some of the members, notice, are showing some red spaghetti lines into weak 0.5 weak La Nina. A few of them are. So it's possible it might dip down, let's say, close to 0.5, maybe by November, December for a little bit, maybe, but maybe not. The ensemble mean looks pretty convincing. It's the European model showed this in March, in April, in May, in June, and July. When all these other models were going La Nina, nope, the European model said no. Now here's the latest CFS projection, and again, this is a change, because earlier we were looking at a sharp drop here in July, setting off La Nina conditions. Now that's gone, as you can see, where the line's been straight, all right? And then again, back in April, this was going straight down, and then it turned. Now you can see the 0.5, that's the threshold right there. We don't reach La Nina until September, according to this latest projection of the CFS. And this is probably bullshit, because it's been overdoing it the whole time. Even if this is true, it reaches moderate La Nina, not strong, around 1.25, around December. And then by January, it's weakening. February and March, it's gone, essentially. So even if this is correct, it would show that for most of the winter, La Nina is weakening, coming out of it. And then here, on my next slide, you can take a look at, this is the NME, the different climate models. So this is orange color here. That is the CFS. And the rest of them are different climate models, the NASA, NCAR, GFDL, Canadian. And notice the dashed black line is the ensemble mean of all of these taken together. But notice the difference here. The ensemble mean barely gets to La Nina by October, November. And then it shows weakening in January, February, March. The CFS, as we just saw here, is much more aggressive, getting down to minus 1.25. And here you can see the same thing, almost 1.5 by December, and then it weakens it. So they all show the weakening by December, and it reaches its peak and then it starts weakening. The issue is what's the intensity here, and I think the CFS is completely wrong. I think the European model is the way to go here. Okay, let's talk about 97L. That's what this is. This is the tropical wave, which has been designated 97L. This is as of Saturday morning, I should say, 2 a.m. You can see 70% chance it is likely to develop. There's no doubt about it. It's in very good conditions. So this is probably going to become Ernesto. And there are a lot of reasons why the system looks so good. We'll get to that in just a second. Now, beyond that, we can take a look at the MJO. Now, why do we look at the MJO, the Maddie and Julian oscillation? Because it tells us, when it goes into different phases, what the global energy budget's going to be and which areas of the Pacific and the Atlantic are likely to see enhanced tropical activity and which areas are likely to see neutral and which areas are likely to be suppressed. So on this slide here, you can see, let me get my marker up here so you can see it. Okay, here we go. And here we go. So, and then that's what I want to go back here, leave it slide. There we go. So this is the GFS of the European. So this takes us to September 9th. Okay, so that's a month from now. Now here we are right now in phase 1. In phase 2, the 13th, 14th, and 15th, then this 6 to 10 day back in here in phase 3 and 4, and then maybe phase 5, 11 to 15 day. But you can see both these models and the other ones too do show significant movement to phase 3, 4, and 5. Okay, what does that look like? Well, this image, again, this is from Eric Webb. You can see Weber Weather. You can get them on Twitter, but I'm using it because I think this is a great depiction here in phase 3, which is this phase right here. When the MJ, you see the green color here, this is all rising motion. So the Atlantic is and the Indian Ocean too, but Africa is still pretty active. Now, the Caribbean is still in the brown color, which is sinking air. And you can see that here. The dark reds represent areas where you're not likely to see tropical activity here and here. But look at this, off in the southwest Bahamas. See this? This is coming up in the next 5 days, 6 days. And that's where your activity is likely to be. So we can see that phase 3 by August 19th to 20th, right? And phase 3 right in here, that's where you're likely to get tropical activity. And that's where 97L or Ernesto is likely to go, right where the blue area is. This is a classic MJO Phase 3 event coming up. It just matches it perfectly. Now, what happens when we go into Phase 4? That's not good, because the green area, the rising motion, this rising motion, which was over Western Africa, is now completely Indian Ocean and Southeast Asia. And the brown area has now expanded in the tropical Atlantic Ocean and northern South America. So you have a lot of very negative tropical cyclone areas all around the central Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf of Mexico. And if we go into Phase 5, well, there you go. And you can see the brown area, which represents sinking air, which suppresses tropical waves, suppresses thunderstorms, suppresses tropical depressions from forming. It's dominating the entire Atlantic basin. And as not surprisingly, you don't get any areas of significant activity. It all looks pretty suppressed. Okay. This is the midday, a late morning satellite picture visible. And I posted this on the Facebook page. You can see here the red arrows, the cyclonic circulation of this large tropical wave out there around 40 degrees, 38 degrees longitude, and about 12 degrees latitude. You can clearly see it has a low-level spin to it. It looks quite large and impressive. There's the infrared image. You can see it right here. In case you haven't noticed it, let me point it out to you. This is it right here. This is 97L. And this is the water vapor, which I think is also really cool from this afternoon. Let me change the color of the marker here so you can see it a little better. There you go. And you can see, bring front. Try it again, please. Thank you. You can see the, again, the well-organized tropical wave here. The two convection areas here, you can see the cyclonic circulation in the bands wrapping into the center. So this is going to become something, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. And probably a hurricane, I would think. Let me explain why. All right. This here is this was Friday's operational European model. Friday's, not today's, Friday's. And what the European model was doing on August 18th, it was dropping has a huge upper ridge here, ranging from Texas all the way into British Columbia up to northern, the Rockies into northwest Canada. And that created a huge upper low and trough here in the Midwest. Now, this is actually fairly similar to the 1938 hurricane pattern. And there's the hurricane. That's Ernesto. Notice it's paralleling the East Coast. That's very much what the 1938 hurricane did. And then it curved into Connecticut, Long Island, and then slammed into eastern New England. So that's what it was doing. And if you can see what happens here, this is 240 hours. Again, this is Friday's European. There's the monster trough dominating the Midwest right here. Cool air, very nice. The front is stalled along the East Coast, and the Ernesto is being blocked by this ridge. So it's forced to it gets caught up in the east side of the trough, and it slams into southeast New England or very close or just offshore. That's what the European looked like on Friday. Just one possibility, not a forecast, just one possibility. I don't think is correct. If we look at the ensemble from Fridays, now this was the European ensemble from 150 hours out. And you can see here the European had a cluster of activity concentrated just east of the Bahamas. Look at the solutions from the European model, I should say here. This is 198 hours out. Days, almost day 9, day 8.5. And you can see there's quite a bit of a spread in the solution of the European. So they know it's going to get here, okay, and then in the southeast Bahamas. But what happens after that? Does it go out to sea? Does it parallel the coast? Does it head towards Florida? You can see 3 different clusters of solutions. That was yesterday's data, again. Friday's ensembles, okay? This is the latest. This is the midday satellite picture. A nice visible shot here. I like this shot a lot. You can see the coast of Africa, all the way to South America, the U.S. coast, and you can see there's the tropical wave. And again, you can clearly detect the cyclonic circulation of the curved bands. Okay, so what's going to happen here? Well, this is the upper air map for Saturday. And a couple of things to point out here. We have a couple of ridges. One ridge in the North Pacific, another one over Texas, Arizona, Mexico, experiencing extreme heat here. And then this is the Bermuda High Ridge right here. This big trough is connected to this blocking pattern in north central Canada. See this? This is connected to this. This forces this. So as this block remains in place, this trough gets very strong and it drives a cold front across the East Coast and then into the southeastern states on Sunday, Monday. This is Sunday night, Monday morning in the upper left right here. And then in the bottom right, this is Tuesday. So if you look at it, you can see there's no tropical activity yet. There's your Bermuda High right here. And there's your Texas Ridge, okay? And there's a blocking pattern. So the trough is quite strong. The cold front is pushed on through Sunday night, Monday. Maybe a couple showers with it. But look at this disturbance coming in behind it. See this little X right here? That drops in behind it as well. So the trough gets pretty big on the East Coast. This piece of energy merges with this piece of energy. This piece merges with this piece, okay? And the result with this big system by Tuesday, a nice trough here. And the block up to the north in Hudson's Bay, Canada, connects to this trough. So as long as this block is here, this trough is here. As long as this block is here, this trough is here. There's Debbie, or 97L, depending where it is, moving through the Caribbean. Now, up until this point, you can see with this sort of weather pattern and this significant trough coming in at 36 hours and at 78 hours and 120 hours, this trough means business with this block up here. And as a result, the temperatures for the next 5 days look pretty darn good for August. Look at this stuff. You know, Illinois, 10 degrees below normal, Indiana, Western Ohio. But even so, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, West Virginia, 3 to 6 degrees below normal. Not bad for the next 5 days in August, I gotta tell you. Not bad at all. All right, what happens after that? Well, again, this is your Saturday 12Z European model. So there's Ernesto right here. Now the trough is coming off the coast. There's the blocking. So the blocking moves from central Canada to Quebec, Canada, and Labrador, and the trough goes east because of this trough moving in from the Rockies. So that drives it off the coast. So this is forced to turn into the trough, as you can see, and it does. And then it goes out to sea. And this trough coming in behind it is going to keep pushing eastward so that it reaches the Midwest by August 17th. Nice trough and low pressure area. And if this trough, for some reason, misses Ernesto, this one will catch it. So it's gone. It's out to sea. From what I can tell. I don't see any reason why it's not going to. Really, that's what it looks like. 6 to 10 day, look at these temperatures. Not too bad for August. Gotta tell you, not bad. And then if you look at the pattern at 300 hours out, nothing's really changed. Look at the pattern. Trough, ridge. I mean, minor variations, but not much. This is now August 23rd, 24. Okay, we've got a nice significant trough in the Eastern Pacific, huge heat ridge and dome over Texas and New Mexico, and then ridge up into the Rockies and the Southern Canadian prairies, and a nice trough on the East Coast. The hurricane models, this is the 12Z European ensemble, I should say, not the hurricane models, but you can see all of it takes it out to sea, every one of them. So if you're listening to somebody telling you that this is a threat for the East Coast, they're full of shit. As is based upon the data right now, the answer is no. It just isn't. This is the 12Z Saturday GFS model. Okay, so here's the system right here. I just want to blow up so you can see it a little more detail here. All right, fun. All right, there's the Ernesto, south of Puerto Rico. Then it crosses Hispaniola right here. That's August 14th. And then August 15 into 16, crossing Hispaniola into the southeast Bahamas. And then you can see it turns north. The trough on the East Coast is so big, it turns it out to sea. On Sunday, August 8th, 17th, 18th. Gone. The European showing the same thing. And there's the European. The system does not look great at this point. There it is near Antigua, right? And then it begins to intensify, passing north of Puerto Rico, and then north of Hispaniola, and the trough catches and kicks it out to sea. That's what happens on the European 12Z Saturday one. If you look at the ensemble, well, this is the European ensemble here. Look at the cluster. Very strong agreement that by Tuesday afternoon, there's going to be a tropical storm or hurricane in the Northeast Caribbean, near Puerto Rico, just over the northeast Leeward Islands. By the time we get to August 16th, look at the strong signaling from the European. Let me blow this up a little bit so you can see it. See the cluster of activity right here? And that means it's going to probably turn out to sea. This is the GFS. GFS also is a cluster here, but look what happens with the GFS. Once it gets past this point here, you get a split. And, all possible solutions on the GFS. So I don't like the GFS at all in this scenario. I think it's not handling the structure of the hurricane well at all. Okay, and this is the GFS, the 18Z. And there it is. And again, notice it is south of Puerto Rico. That's not what the European has. The European has it north of Puerto Rico. It crosses Hispaniola, and then it turns north. Paralleling the coast, perhaps clipping Cape Cod, but that's what it looks like. And then finally, my last slide here, this is going to be the Friday. This is incorrect here. Let me get rid of that. That is not right. This is the 18Z Saturday. Okay. That's not right. So get rid of that. Nope. Try again. Okay. This is the 18Z GFS, and you can see here, there's the cluster. Again, kind of spread out. And then here's the European, same time frame. Notice a much tighter cluster of activity right here. So, maybe maybe the European is too tight with it, maybe the GFS is too loose with it, but based upon this upper air pattern, I just cannot see any way that this system threatens the East Coast at this time. I just can't see it. Is it possible things could change? Sure, absolutely it could, but not what I'm seeing right now. Okay, this is meteorologist DT from Weather Risk. I will see you over on the website and over at the Weather Risk Grains Twitter page.